Okay, and we are live.
Awesome. I am Chloe,
I'm Sandy, and
and this is WordStitch.
this is WordStitch. Yes,
Yes,
I did not change the date at the bottom of that
that's
ticker.
okay. We're in the past or possibly in the future, however you want to translate that.
We're in the
Um,
today right now. Yeah, we're good.
yeah, we are the 21st of October, right exactly now. Also, we are in our final time trial.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we are doing what is destined to fail, the 45-minute time trial. You don't think so? You disagree with me. I
I
forgot.
do.
We
I
discussed this last
disagree.
week, and I forgot that you totally disagreed with
Yeah,
that.
I think 45 minutes might be like a great spot for some types of scenes. Like it could just be really hard and sluggish, but hey, so if you are joining us for the very first time and you're not even aware of what we're doing, like basically we've been running like different trials to see does 15 minutes work best for a word sprint or 20 minutes, and we've graduated to 45 minutes today, right? So even if this stakes, it's the last one. Yeah.
Yes. Um, we started on a bad note because 10 was terrible, and we mutually decided that, like, I don't know how 10-minute novel is. Like, that must just be a euphemism. There is no way anybody in that group is writing a novel on 10 minutes because it's awful.
Or they're our
Um,
heroes or something. They're
yeah,
amazingly
yeah,
productive.
or they're the ones who deserve to be the writers, not
Indeed.
me.
Yes.
And again, like Sandy, you have remained strong, right? Like
Mm,
your 30-minute trial did about as well as your 25-minute trial.
my 30-minute trial was worse than my. It was better than the 20-minute, but worse than the 25. So for 25 has been the best for me.
Okay. I crashed and burned on my 30-minute trial. So I know me. I don't claim to have ADHD or anything like that, but also I know me, and my attention doesn't last that long. I will absolutely in the middle of this 45-minute be like, I'm gonna go pee or something, whatever. Like I know me. I don't want to be that guy, but I am absolutely that guy. And then there's gonna be that moment where I'm like, my fingers hurt. Um, so yeah, we're just doing 45 just because like there probably are some marathon people out there. I do know some people who like do those 2K hours. They do the 1K 30 and they do the 2K hours, and it's
Wow.
um yeah, like there are some people who finish Nano in the first like weekend, right? There are people who write out like 50,000 words in a
Yeah,
weekend.
I've never really understood that, but I.
I don't either, and I feel like the quality can't be good, but maybe it
Mm,
is. I don't know. I don't know if the quality is going to be any worse than like the average Nano book, if that isn't like the most condescending thing I've ever said in my entire life. But yeah, so there are some people who do that. And so probably like 45s are absolutely like their minimum, and how dare you quit writing for 5 minutes after 20 minutes. But
well, it's a
these are
style,
for you
right?
after I've just insulted you guys like 800 times. Sorry.
Yeah, that was a very large hole right there that was being dug. I mean, look, there are different styles, right? And the whole point of these time trials is to figure out who you are. So we know that Chloe is for sure not a 45er. But we'll see how the
Yeah,
rest of
we'll
us
see.
do.
I am going to absolutely give it an honest try. Don't think that everything that I've said
All
is
right.
implying that I am actually going to be like, screw this, I'm gonna go for a while. I just I know. I know me, and I know how my brain wanders, and I know how easily I get sucked into a Google hole if there is nothing stopping me like a clock that is speeding along. But we are now at five after, so we are going to go ahead and do the first one of two. We're only doing two trials this week. So you guys go ahead and start writing, and we will see you at 10 of. There we go.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay, so that was 952
Sandy, is
for
there a
me.
reason that I don't have video on my end?
You don't have video on your end?
Yeah, but it could be. It could just be that your secondary camera is acting up. Do you know if we've got video in
Yeah.
on YouTube? Okay.
Oh,
Oh, there we
wait.
go.
Now we have two of me. All
Oh,
right, now we're good. Uh, all right. So we are back. So that was decent for me. That was 952 words. What about
good.
you? Yeah.
So you're gonna laugh at me, but let me get through this.
All right. All right.
I got 1452,
Nice.
which is better than last week. Not as good as the week before, but also my
Okay.
hands hurt a whole bunch right now, and I don't know. Like I was definitely slowing down at the end just because my hands are hurting. So that might spell the doom that I was expecting this time for the next time.
Huh.
Yeah.
So,
Which also, like, for the people who are watching, I work with my hands all day. I'm a cake decorator, so it kind of makes sense that my hands would be cramping on something like this because my hands just they get a lot of abuse.
um, yeah, no, that's fair enough. Ooh, hey, before we keep talking about this, so when is our next sprint? How long is our break this time?
Okay, so our next sprint is going to be the same time block. No, it's going to be 10 after to 5 of, right?
Okay.
Yes, because that is an hour minus 15 minutes.
Ooh, so we have a really long break this time.
Yeah, so we have a gigantic break this time, which remember last week we had like the 10-minute breaks, and now we have like merged it down that much farther for doing the exact same amount of time in only 2 sprints.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna be dicking around for the next 20 minutes. Which actually maybe, so here's something, maybe this 45 minutes will work for me because I'll have the next 20 minutes to work my hands out.
You can do whatever you want. Yeah. Now this is interesting. So if I do the exact same number of words next time that I did this time,
Mhm.
then I'll be at 21 words a minute, which is the same as what I was when I did the 15-minute sprints. So that's like going back to like a pretty
So that's
rough time
so
for me.
bad. You think that this is bad for you then?
Well, okay. So in terms of words per minute, yeah, except that I also feel like I got almost an entire scene written there,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel really good about it. So, like, I
I actually
mean,
was going into a short scene, so I got more than a scene written. But by
nice.
that I mean it was like an 800 word scene, and normally my scenes are like 1,500 to 2,000.
Yeah, yeah. So mine are so mine tend to be like 1,000, maybe like 1,500. So I've still got a few more paragraphs in that one, but it's like solid, right? Like I'm
Yeah,
not gonna have to go back and like it's not gonna be a piece of a scene. It's not gonna have to get like
right.
finished after our session here. It'll just be done after the next 45 minutes. So I don't know. I actually kind of like that. And
Yeah,
I didn't know what I was writing, right? Like I went
yeah.
in with a pretty rough idea.
What are
So
you writing, by the way? Because this is something that Sandy and I talked about before we started the show. That she had no idea what she was going to do because she was supposed to be somewhere other than she is in writing today. So she didn't know what she was doing.
yeah, no, and I went back to the sequel, which is what I really need to be working on this week. That's my goal.
Yeah.
Like that's what I have. It's not what we talked about. I was gonna start fresh, but I felt like it was a good space to think in. Like I had enough time to
Yeah.
think. So
But it was a fresh scene for the sequel.
yes,
This is, by the way, again, this is her sequel to her full-length YA series that she already has.
sorry, that is my Google phone doing a thing.
Oh no, I didn't even hear it. I didn't know what you were doing. But she already has a draft pretty much complete. And now you're filling in scenes for that were missing, right? Is that
I mean,
roughly the scenario
I
here?
feel like I have All right, so I have about 50% of it complete, and another like say 50% where I'm filling in scenes, and but the 50% that's complete, I've been doing some massive editing on, because if I don't take out like a third,
Yeah, you have too
then
many words.
yeah, like that
Yeah.
that book is going to be like 600 pages. So I actually, that was really hard for me. So I've got a cover designer that I really like, and she was doing the second book, and I haven't finished the second book, right? So I had to decide like how long was I going to let it be, even though I don't actually have a final word count, which meant I had to like roughly estimate, right? And this is, I mean, it's doable. Basically, I'm giving myself a limit. So
Yeah.
I limited myself to like 480 pages or something like that, which is, it'll be 16 pages of like back and front matter. And
How many words is that roughly?
119,000.
Okay. So that's still a big,
It's a big book. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's bigger than the first one, but the first one is pretty in
Just should
line
be.
with, which is 100, it was like 103,000.
Mhm.
But I mean, the first one was in line with YA. So like that book is not, it's not skinnier, or, like if I'm looking at the books on my shelf, like what is The Cruel Prince? I haven't read this one yet. I'm kind of excited about it. So like The
I know
Cruel Prince
Sandy and I have been
is,
talking about this
yeah.
week. We are we are on two sides of how you handle books that you have already bought, and it turns out I am in the minority in the fact that I just read those books before I buy another book.
Yeah, no, I don't. I buy them. I go into a bookstore. Well, first of all, because every time I go into an independent bookstore, I buy a book. I mean, I'm always thinking to myself, like, I really need people to be buying my books. I mean, obviously, I need them to read the books too, but like,
Right.
buying is the first step. And independent bookstores, they depend on those sales. So, like, it kind of drives me crazy when I do like a book club at an independent bookstore, and the people are like, "Oh, I couldn't find the book at the library." You're at an independent bookstore. Like,
Yeah.
get the book
Yeah, that's a little rude.
here. Yeah. Cuz it's hard for those bookstores to sustain their businesses, like they really have to work. So that is part of my problem, is that I like picking up those books.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't think I'm in the majority. I just think that the world is probably divided fairly evenly amongst like people like you who pick up a book and immediately start reading it. People like me who pick up a book and are like, I'm going to get to it sometime this year.
I pick it up to read it, not because I want to read it, but because I am reading it. But no, I feel like your little survey the other day indicated that there were more people who were buying for the future, right?
Well, I think that the end results of that were something like, I'll pull it up just to actually be sure about this.
Yeah.
But I want to say that like most people were not in your camp. So it wasn't like it wasn't like there were just a whole lot of people who immediately pick up a book and read it, but they weren't all in mine either. So
Okay.
I mean, let's actually look at that, because this is a hard problem for a writer, right? Like, I mean, here we are writing books, right? And we're assuming that like we're going to get people who actually want to read our books. I mean,
I don't personally, and it could just be because of how my outlook is on all of this. I don't consider it a hard problem so much as something that I wish I had known before this point.
well, it could be different genre to genre too, right?
It could also be that, yeah.
So I'm looking at mine.
You're looking at your romance readers, right? That was who got this? Or
No,
this was YA readers who got this?
This was the YA. So this was 500 YA readers got this, and these are people who found me mostly through like by reader magnets. But then like I have maybe 30 people who are like people who know me. 32 people answered the quiz question. The first question was, after you download,
that's a good turnout on it. How many people are on your on that subscribe list?
510. It's a little
Wow, that's a
turnout.
really good
You
turnout.
think
Yeah.
so?
Yeah.
32 out of 500?
I have triple that, and I didn't get that high. I think I got like 25 on a 1,500 subscriber
I
list.
mean, keep in mind that
But again,
like
it is a different list, yeah.
and keep in
It's
mind that
different
like 7 of
demographic.
these people are, you, me, my mom, my mother-in-law,
True.
some of my best
This is
friends.
true. And neither of us filled out my survey, but we both filled
But
out
we
your
both filled up mine.
survey.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, so the results were 7 people said that they would start reading right away. So that's 21%. 25% said within a few days. So that was 8 people. Another 7 people said sometime that month. And then 10 people said sometime that year. So you are right that like I fall into the category that's the most highly populated.
But it's not the majority.
Well, I mean, look, it basically says that, about half of the people who pick up your book are planning to read it relatively soon, and half aren't, right? Because, I mean, to me, if you say sometime that month, like, a month goes by fast, and I bet a lot of those people don't end up reading those books. So, it's a whole thing, and so when it came to like I asked what best describes you as a reader. I read every book I buy, got 6 votes. I have a lot of books on my shelves that I haven't read, got 6 votes. And I read most of the books that I buy, got 9 votes. So I think it says most people try to read most of their books, right?
Yeah.
We aren't all just hoarding. It's a thing.
Although I have a correction to make. I didn't realize that my survey had like gotten stronger over time.
Oh.
And I actually have 46 responses
That's
total.
huge.
For a completely unrelated survey, for those of you who are watching. Has absolutely nothing to do with hers. But again, like 46 out of 1,500, I'm still not percentage-wise as strong as yours, but a lot better.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's great. I actually feel like that particular newsletter of mine does not get a very high participation rate, or at least it's like much slower than my others. Like my romance, I feel like if people haven't responded in like 24 hours, then they're gone. I'm never going to hear from them. This one is weird because it can take like 72 hours before I know if people are going to respond.
Yeah.
Like right now I have on that particular campaign, I had 20%, well, 19.29% opened the emails. And that's a number that like crept up over several days. 9% clicked stuff. So like those numbers don't stink, but like the first day they sure did. Like it looked like it was horrible. And then another interesting thing about this is that list, only 6 people unsubscribed. So even though like it feels like a slower list, I think people take it more seriously. Like it's I don't know. I almost feel like I have more quality. No, I don't want to say this because I don't want to put down my romance readers, who I totally love. But like I think that there are more people.
You're gonna put down a lot more people than Sandy is.
Well, okay, look. I think with romance readers, all of them were strangers, right? Like everybody who found me was somebody who didn't know me, and they aren't people who are getting my face. Like I'm not plastered to that website. It's it's an image. Like they don't. I can't give them nearly as much of me personally as I can with the YA because that's my actual name, right? So like, I do think it makes a difference. I think that when people feel like they're getting a real person, then they are more likely to respond as if you're a real person and not be, difficult by marking you as spam.
I can see that. Yeah.
So it's a whole. I mean that's a whole thing. We should do like a post-mortem on all the stuff that we have learned this year in December.
Oh yeah, I was already thinking that. Like we definitely need to review like what we did wrong and what we did okay. Yeah. To
see how that all went down.
What we're going to, and then the following episode being what we plan to do better next year. which mostly I plan to sell books next year.
That's funny. I mean I agree, right? That's the overall goal, but
Right.
well, let's save that for another discussion. But yeah, I think we've got a whole lot that we can talk about there because we have learned a whole lot. So
Mhm.
we should do a
Yeah.
special
And it's funny how like some of them have been like random discoveries, like this thing about how people actually read books.
yeah. Yeah.
That we would have never known if I hadn't had to like manually input some data that I should have never had to manually input. And there I was, and I was like, oh, this is all like real surprising. So,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah.
And it's a lot of it is stuff that makes sense, but you just don't think about the fact that like people who are downloading reader magnets are just downloading books because they look like they might want to read them sometime and are not actually making plans to read them. To the point that I have had some people download the same book 3 times because they didn't realize they had. I'm assuming, I'm hoping they didn't realize that they had already downloaded it twice.
I mean, it's a real catch-22, right? As
Yeah,
we noted earlier in the week, because it appears as though like you basically need your reader magnet to be so attractive that like
people
people
actually
just
read it.
well, right, and you need them to fall in love with it in like droves. So it
Yeah,
can't just be like, 5 people read it and they liked it. It has to be like 100 people read it immediately and they all need to know what happens next,
yes,
all of them. And so like 25 of them actually go on Amazon and review it when you say like, hey, please review this, and like
hmm
50 of them say yes, I'll be ARC readers, and of those 50 another 25 go online for book 1 when you actually put it up there, and now you have some momentum. But like, I mean, that's really hard to do, right?
it
Like
is.
you've got to, like, if you think about that, then you've got to beat out like everybody in the book funnel promotion that you're in, and you have to be the book,
Yeah,
the free book that they
and also
must read.
again somehow get them to actually read it
Yeah.
because I feel like my numbers have indicated that I have had that book before, and yeah, I still wasn't like I've absolutely been the
Yeah.
number one in my news in my group giveaways before, and obviously I still didn't pick up um those readers I needed because that particular book is sitting at one review on Amazon.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a weird situation of trying to figure out like what is going to work when what's supposed to work, these reader magnets. Um, Most of these people aren't even reading it.
Yeah. I got a great email from I subscribe to, I think his name is Nicholas Eric, the guy who does like all the fantastic reviews on like how to um, launch your book. So
Oh,
his subscriber email today was basically about failure. It was a these are the ways in which you can fail, and his biggest takeaway is you can fail by like trying to think that there's one perfect way to do it,
yeah,
and like therefore attempt like spending all your time trying to get something perfect instead of just like thinking of this as a process that's iterative where you just have to run it over and over and over again
yeah.
until
And you
you
have
hit the
to do
one.
different variations on it, and you have to spread those wings. You can't expect one thing to
To pop.
to really
Yeah.
catch all.
Yeah.
And then also like for me, because I'm running a AMS ad and also a sale at the same time, I'm discovering that like I needed to do this, and I'm not mad at myself for doing both of them at the same time, but also I don't like I'm getting no actual data from this because I don't know where it is strong. I don't know why it is working. I have had sales. I do consider it a success for like where I am, but I don't know why. So yeah, it's a lot of trial and error and like doing things different ways and accepting when things are going to not work, but also like having to keep that business sense
Mm-hmm.
of, not shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on that note, we are going to do our second 45 minutes. My hands are feeling a little bit better, so hopefully this works out.
Yay.
And we will see you guys for closing words at 5 of. Excellent.
Yes. I gotta calculate.
I got 1339, which I thought was good. And I mean, it's certainly like it's not bad, but that dropped me to exactly the words per minute that I had last week. So this was neither better nor worse than last week.
But I can make that even worse for you. I feel so good about these words I got. I got 834, but that's 19 words a minute, which is the same that I got the day of the 10-minute trials.
Yeah, so this doesn't work. And let me tell you.
But I disagree. These were really good words. I mean, it was a valuable session. It was far more valuable than the 10-minute one.
You know, you mentioned it in our last break, and I will say that I agree with you on the fact that, like, whole scenes are getting finished.
Yeah.
But also, like, exactly what I predicted of myself. There was a moment in there where I looked at, literally, there is a bag of Southwest Airlines pretzels that have been sitting on my desk for months. The last time I flew was in July, and I was just sitting here typing, and I was like, that looks real good. I'm going to eat that right now. And, like, my brain totally forgot that I was in the middle of a word sprint, and I just ate a bag of pretzels.
You know, okay, so what I like about the 45 minutes is I feel like you can get into the scene enough to be in, like, the characters' heads.
Yes. I definitely see that as well.
No, I will say, so for me then, the 25-minute trial is for sure the sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it was a really good session. I mean, it was also one of the only days that I knew exactly what I was writing going in. So maybe I would be doing better, you know, otherwise, but I don't know. I feel like it still might be, like, just long enough to get into things, but not long enough to lose focus. And
right.
Yeah.
I think something, and again, this is definitely one of those things where it's, you know, this is a part of a much longer process.
Mm-hmm.
With future ones, and I did this for the last time I did this, but not this one. So, like, my last book, I did not actually do the time trials, but I did track every single one of my word sprints, and I had them logged in the Scrivener file attached to each of those scenes. So I kind of feel like if I do this again, it would be worthwhile keeping those tags on there, so I can also, when I'm editing, check the quality of the words.
Oh, interesting.
Because, like, if these 45s, which, like you said, you know, that is absolutely a valid point, that these 45s are allowing whole scenes to happen, and it seems to make them more seamless. Then it will be interesting to see if these scenes actually end up being better when you get to edit than those scenes that are written faster in the 25-minute sprints, but potentially less seamless.
Yeah.
I forgot how to say things at the end of that statement. Sorry.
Okay. Hey, by the way, we had somebody joining us today. Herb was with us. Sorry, Herb, we didn't even see you earlier, but thank you for hanging out with us.
This was a weird day to hang out. Sorry.
It was a weird day, right? Yeah. We'll be back to normal next week, but
and next week we'll be talking about our nano projects, because next week is going to be the 28th, and we better have those goddamn things nailed down.
Yeah. No, I'm ready. I've got mine. I'm in.
I mean, you are destroying me right now, Sandy.
I'm not destroying you in any way. I'm just suggesting that you change projects.
Again,
it's nothing. I'm saying you should write to market, you know, and I'm just not sure that but we'll talk about it next week.
That literally hitting 3 of the top 10s will be writing to market.
Yeah, something like that. Is that? Well, okay, fair enough. In any case, Okay, so I guess we should allow everybody to get to whatever they're doing on Monday evening, huh?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that. So good writing, everybody. And thanks for sticking with us through the time trial experiment. And definitely try this again on your own. And get yourselves ready for Nano because that is starting in a week and a half.
Yes, Nano is
Yeah.
upon us. All right.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.